Hello, welcome back to my channel. I haven't done a reading vlog in the longest time and I just am really in the mood to film one. So let's do a little reading vlog. Currently reading Daisy Hates, which is the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe, and I am enjoying it. I'm only 27% of the way through. I'm not as invested as I was with Magnolia Parks, but I think it is going to start to pick up and the story is going to start getting more interesting now. So we'll see how we get on, but this is one of the books that I'm currently reading. And then there's two more books which I may potentially have to start reading. We'll start with the one series that I have honestly been so terrified to read because everybody says how heartbreaking it is. So I've had it on my TBR for a little while, but I've been just terrified to pick it up. But because now there's a new book released, I feel like I just have to take the leap and do it. So I really want to start reading Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. So many people love this series and I don't think I've ever actually seen a bad review for this book or any of the books in the series. So I'm really excited to start, but I have been told it is very heartbreaking and I need to prepare myself. So that is what I'm going to be doing. Really want to start this evening because I've just seen so much hype over TikTok and I'm like, I really just feel like I need to start reading it now. Everyone just loves it and all of the books are in the works as well, so I kind of want to know if I like it or not so that I can pick up the books in the works before they disappear. I don't know how long books stay in the works for, but I don't want to then end up having to pay like £10 for each of the books because there's quite a few and it's kind of expensive. So what I'm thinking of doing, because obviously I want to read two books at the same time and they're both kind of, well, what is this? This is like a romance and this is a romance as well. So I feel like it's a very similar genre. It's the same genre basically. So I don't know how different the storylines are going to be, although I do think they're going to be quite different. Heartbreaking, but in different ways. But what I'm thinking, because I do have Daisy Hate on my Kindle as well, because it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm thinking this is going to be my at work and on my commute out of the house read, and then Binding 13 is going to be my at-home read while I'm like sitting down and actually have loads of time to put into it. I don't know if people do that. I don't know, like this is something I do sometimes where I'll have at-home books and I'll have Kindle books where I read them outside of the house. I don't know if anyone else does that, but it's a thing. But I really want to start this tonight. So I think what I'm going to do, I am about to go for a walk in about an hour, so I think I'm gonna get myself like have a shower, take my makeup off, get into some like comfy clothes, and then I'm gonna sit down and start reading Binding 13. Guys, I'm actually scared. Like I'm really scared for this. Also, this book is chunky. Like look at the size of it. How many pages is it? I don't want to see any spoilers, but I need to know. I think this is 789 pages. This is a chunky book, but I'm really excited to read it, even though I'm really scared. So it's the next day and we need to talk about this book because I am 56 pages in and only a few chapters. So this book doesn't have like chapter numbers, which is kind of annoying actually, I've only just realised. But I have read this much. So very little, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I just can already tell that I'm gonna absolutely fall in love with Johnny and Shannon. We don't really know too much about them yet, but just from the introduction of Shannon, I just think she's going to be a little angel, like just someone that you kind of just want to wrap up in your arms and keep them safe. And Johnny, I think, is just going to be a very nice boy. Like so far from what I'm seeing, he seems like a really nice character. This book is actually set in a school, so the characters are kind of like 17. Well, I think Shannon's 15 and Johnny is 17. So they're very young, although this book is not young adult, as you can tell from the trigger warnings in the beginning, the author's notes. The characters are young, but the reader should not be young. The reader should be an adult. But I'm really enjoying Johnny and Shannon's story so far. I have been thinking about this book all day since I started work at 6:15. It's literally just been like on my mind all day that I cannot wait to come home and read. I think I'm going to set a timer for an hour and just see how many pages I can read in an hour, because I'm going to go for a walk again this evening before it gets dark, probably at like 5:30ish. It's 4 o'clock now, so I've still got time to read before I want to go on my walk. Is up, and I started on page 57 and I ended up finishing on page 114, and I worked out that that's about 57 pages, which is kind of cool to know, because I've always kind of wondered how many pages I actually read in an hour. So it's interesting to see that I read 57. I don't know if that's good or not. You guys tell me in the comments if you think 57 pages in an hour is good or not, because I'm not 100% sure. I feel like I actually expected I would be able to read more, but here we are. I think that's still okay. I'm still absolutely adoring this story, and I think the more we're getting into it now, we're kind of getting introduced to some more characters and getting to know some more characters. And I love it. Like, even though so many people say that this is a really heartbreaking story, and like they kept telling me, they were like, you need to get your tissues ready and your snacks because it's so heartbreaking, I'm finding comfort in it. I can't relate to the characters whatsoever, because luckily for me, I was never really bullied growing up, and you know, I'm not also a boy that plays rugby. I don't know, I'm finding comfort in this somehow. Like, I think it's kind of comforting. I don't know, did anybody else find that with this? Maybe that will change, because, you know, I still have quite a lot of the book to go, and I don't know what is going to happen in these pages, but I'm preparing myself for it to be awful and sad. But yeah, that is the end of my hour. I'm going to get myself ready to go out for a walk, and then when I come back, I think I might switch and read a bit more of Daisy Hates now, because I was reading it on my Kindle while I was at work, and I actually am in the middle of a chapter. So when I come back from my walk, I might just finish the chapter off, just so that it kind of makes sense when I go to read it tomorrow. And then I'll probably come back to Binding 13, because I'm really, really enjoying this. Hello, it's actually Thursday, and I had every intention of trying to film every day this week. However, didn't go to plan, because life is actually really busy when you're trying to work full-time, which I work shifts as well, so I'm not working like regular hours, and then trying to go to the gym like 3 or 4 times a week, and then trying to do content. It's just a lot, okay? But I'm trying to manage it as best as possible. So it's now Thursday, and I did the early shift today, so I have a little bit more time to kind of get myself together, even though it is literally 4 p.m, and I have got a coffee because I've been up since 4:40 in the morning. So I've now been up for nearly 12 hours, and I'm exhausted, to be honest. But we need to discuss the book situation, because we have a lot to catch up on. So last time we caught up, I was reading Binding 13, and to be honest, I actually haven't really read much more of this since we caught up last. So I'm currently on page 254, so I have got a good chunk. Where's my bookmark? That's not helpful, is it? I have read like quite a good chunk of it, although I still have this much left. So I mean, really, when you look at it like that, it kind of looks like I've not read anything, but I'm really, really enjoying this. It truly does feel like it's going to break my heart, and I really just wanted to give it 100% of my time, and I wanted to kind of put a pause on reading this just so that I can fully immerse myself and enjoy it. I think where I stopped it is kind of like at a good time to stop it. Like, nothing's really, like, things have developed in the story, but they haven't developed to a point where I feel like I'm gonna forget what's going on. So I've stopped it there, because I really wanted to go back to, obviously I was reading Daisy Hates at the same time as reading Binding 13, but Daisy Hates just got so good that I couldn't put it down. So I have now finished this book, and overall I rated it 5 stars because I really enjoyed it. Like, in the end, I think it was just taking me a little while to get back into the style of writing, because the Magnolia Parks Universe books are written as if like you are the character, and like you're like reading their thoughts that are going through their mind as things are unfolding and happening. So I think sometimes it can take a little time to get used to the way it's written. And also, I don't know why, but in the Daisy's chapters, she's got a load of footnotes. So it was just taking me forever to read and kind of get used to that different style of writing. But that being said, I still had a really great time and I just loved it so much, and this cover is gorgeous. But after finishing this, I just wasn't ready to put Magnolia Parks Universe down, and I really wanted to continue it. I unfortunately do not have the next 2 books in the series, and payday isn't until Monday, so I haven't actually bought them yet. So I've just been reading it on my Kindle, and I actually saw on TikTok that you can actually tandem read the next 2 books. So that's what I've been doing, but I've been doing it on my Kindle. And another thing that I need to show you as well, which we have, sorry if you can hear the wind, my flat is honestly so hot and I just can't have the door shut right now. I got some new Kindle inserts. I mean, how cute is this? I don't know if you can see it. So this is from a girl on TikTok. She has an Etsy store. I'll leave a link in the description box because I've also got a code. I did buy these myself, but I do have a 10% off code for any of my followers that want to buy any of her Kindle inserts. So it's just Kelsey10, and I'll leave a link in the description box for these. But it's so cute. So this is a Magnolia Parks one, and then I just got this pop socket from Amazon, which I will also link on my Amazon storefront because I have one of those now. It's so exciting. But again, I'll put the links in the description. Back to what I was actually saying. I've been reading The Great Undoing, which is Daisy Hate's story, and also The Long Way Home, which is Magnolia Parks' story, on my Kindle. I found this girl on TikTok who like split out the chapters, so I've just been ticking them off as I go along basically on my phone, and then I'm kind of just tabbing the chapters so I know that it's time to move on. So it's going well so far. I'm really enjoying kind of going back and forth between the 2 character stories. I think at this point we kind of know the characters now, we have like a good background on them, and I think we're just truly getting to a point where we are invested in their life and their drama that comes with it. So I'm really excited to see how they unfold. I feel like Daisy's stories are so much more dramatic, and I know so many people say they prefer Daisy's like books, but I actually love Magnolia's books just as much as Daisy's at the moment. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So that's what we're doing at the moment. That's what we're reading. And I've decided after I've finished these, Magnolia Parks Universe, I'm going to go back and finish Binding 13 because I think that would be a really good time to do that. So I actually need to set aside some time to make some content for my TikTok and my Instagram. So I'm going to do that now. And then I'm going to sit down and read. Good morning. I'm so happy it's Friday. I'm on the close shift today, which means I don't start until 12 p.m. so I don't have to leave my house until 11 a.m. and it's currently 9 a.m. so I've got a good 2 hours to get a little bit of reading done, which I'm so grateful for, because honestly, like, I'm going to tell you, so Wednesday I work 11 till 7, and then on a Thursday I work 6:15 a.m. till 2:15 p.m. and it's like the jump from like coming home at like 8 p.m. then like trying to get into bed early so I can wake up at 4:30 in the morning always completely throws me off on a Thursday. So Thursday is always my rest day from the gym because I know that like I'm just going to be too tired. And I was supposed to go to the gym this morning because obviously I'm not starting till 12, but I'm just so tired and I've got DOMs in my legs, so I'm just going to rest and I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. That was a really long-winded way of me kind of introing Friday, but that's why I've got 2 hours to read this morning, because I'm not going to train, I'm going to rest, I'm feeling exhausted, so I feel like it's necessary. But we need to talk about The Long Way Home. So as we know, I'm doing the tandem read of Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, and Daisy Hate's The Great Undoing. And I've just read quite a few chapters of The Long Way Home. And now we're starting to get a little bit of like background on BJ and Magnolia, and we've figured out what December 3rd is. So if you haven't read this book yet, I'm not going to spoil it, but December 3rd is like an important date in their relationship, and you don't find out why until this book. And let me tell you, I was in tears. Like, it is so sad. My heart was broken for them. Like, how sad is that? If you know, you know. Like, honestly, I was heartbroken for BJ and Magnolia. I mean, I've been rooting for them this whole time. I knew there was going to be a good reason why. And now I feel like I know, and I feel justified in my decision to root for them because I just love them together, and I just really hope that at the end of the series they do end up together, because I honestly feel like, how can you love somebody that much and not be with them? Like, My God, it's so heartbreaking, but I love it. So I've got one more chapter to read of The Long Way Home before I go back into Daisy Hates The Great Undoing and read a couple of chapters in there. So I'm really excited and I'm really actually enjoying the tandem read. I know I kind of saw a post on TikTok that said not to do the tandem read if you haven't read the Magnolia Parks Universe before, but I love a tandem read, and I did struggle when I was reading Daisy Hates because the timelines was overlapping with Magnolia Parks, and I was like, oh, like we've seen this before, like we've seen this scene before. Even though you're getting it from a different character's POV, it still kind of felt like, well, I've read this before. Do you know what I mean? So for me, the tandem is actually quite a nice way of like it all happening at the same time, which I really enjoy. So I'm enjoying the tandem read. I would recommend it so far, but I'm obviously not very far into these books, so I will give you a full rundown, I'm sure, of the Magnolia Park series once I finish them. But yeah, I'm going to spend a little bit of time now. I've got a couple of hours reading. I need to eat some breakfast. I also need to do a little bit of like washing up and like cleaning the kitchen, so I'm going to do that as well. Just finished the chapters in The Long Way Home and went to read The Great Undoing, and I just realised that I read one of the chapters in The Great Undoing before I was supposed to, because obviously like something major, you find something out like major about Magnolia and BJ, and I read the chapter in The Great Undoing where another character found out, and then I read that before I read Magnolia and BJ's POV, so I was kind of in my head, I was like, oh, this isn't making sense, like the timeline is all mixed up, but actually it's because I've read it wrong. So this is your like reminder, if you're going to do a tandem read, make sure you're reading the right chapters so you don't ruin it for yourself. But even so, like it was still pretty major and still heartbreaking, so it's not like I've ruined the story for myself, like I just read the chapter wrong, it's not a big deal, but I'm kind of annoyed at myself. But it's fine. It is what it is. It was an honest mistake. Anyway, I'm going to carry on reading. I'm back onto The Great Undoing now, so I'm going to read a little bit more of that.